back to my channel. Thank you all for tuning in. Got another collection update. I got some new stuff to show everybody, so let's jump right into this with some vinyl pickups. Most recently, I got this at Goodwill. It's a little beat up, Steve Miller Band Greatest Hits. I've had my eye on this in different places for a while now. I'm not like a crazy big Steve Miller Band fan, but this album, this Greatest Hits collection right here, has pretty much all the Steve Miller Band that I quite like, so I've been wanting to pick this up for a while. Though it's a little beat up, especially the cover, the album itself cleaned up pretty nicely, so I thought for, 99 cents or whatever it was that I paid for it, it was a pretty good deal. And I see it often enough that if this doesn't pan out, I can probably pick up another copy somewhere else. But Steve Miller Band Greatest Hits, Star Trek the Motion Picture soundtrack. I've been hoping to find this for quite a while. I've got Wrath of Khan and Voyage Home both on vinyl. I got a couple other on CD, Search for Spock and First Contact. I think this is one of the best scores in the Star Trek motion picture catalog. I think this and Generations is my other favorites. Generations I don't think is on vinyl, so I'm keeping my eye out for that one on CD. But either way, I was really stoked to see that the record store had this one. So there is another record store in the city of Williamsport that I have not gone to for quite a while. The last couple times I had been there, their selection had really dwindled down. They didn't have a whole lot, so I just kind of stopped going. I decided to go back and check them out for the first time in over a year, and they actually had a great selection. So they've come across some great vinyls. I picked two of them up. Genesis Invisible Touch. I love this album. That may not be the popular thing to say amongst both Genesis fans and non-Genesis fans, but I do think this is a really good album, though it's definitely poppy. I still think there's some great stuff on here, like the title track, Tonight, 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 Land of Confusion, anything she does, and I'm stoked about finding this on vinyl. I passed this up on vinyl a couple times in the past, so I'm happy to finally have my hands on it, to see what that one sounds like on vinyl. And also Blue Oyster Cult's Mirror. Haven't listened to this one all the way through yet, but I picked this one up because I'm kind of getting into a little Blue Oyster Cult, diving a little deeper than I have in the past, so pick that one up. Alright, now it's time for the CDs. We've got Rise of the Damnation Army from Skid Row. This is the second of two EPs the band put out. The last recordings they did with Johnny Solinger. This is like 2013, 2014, something like that. Need to keep my eye out for the first one yet. I wasn't crazy about these when they came out. I do think the second one is better than the first one, though. Like We Are the Damned, Give It the Gun, Damnation Army, 0 Days. So this one's, in my opinion, stronger than the first one. But they didn't really do a whole lot for me, but to kind of round out the Skid Row collection, I picked this one up. So now I just got to keep my eye out for the first one, and I still haven't gotten around to picking up their new album, which I really need to do because it was really, really an excellent album. Next we have Fuel, Something Like Human. My knowledge of Fuel was very limited. I knew pretty much the really big hits, Hemorrhage and Shimmer, Bad Day, but I picked this one up more or less on a whim at a thrift store. It wasn't Goodwill, it was another thrift store, and this is actually really good. This is right up there with some of the best alternative rock albums of the time, in my opinion. Other than Hemorrhage and Bad Day, which were the hits off this one, I also have heard the song Last Time and Empty Spaces, and I love them both. But this whole album's fantastic. There's not a song here I don't like. I think it's a great album, and now I need to keep my eye out for some more Fuel, because this one's really awesome. I guess specifically the their first album and their third, I think, is kind of where I would want to pick up. I think they get a new singer at some point. I think the singer on this one, I think, leaves the band at some point. I'm not sure because not really all that knowledgeable on the band Fuel, but this album is really, really good. Alright, the rest here I've just picked up at Goodwill just a couple days ago. CCR Greatest Hits. I can never seem to find CCR on CD. I've got Cosmos Factory, Green River, and Willie and the Poor Boys on vinyl. And I do have their first album on CD, but I picked this one up just because I wanted to have a little more CCR on CD. This one's got a great selection of tracks like Proud Mary, Bad Moon Rising, which is my favorite CCR track, Commotion, which is a banger, Down on the Corner, Fortunate Son, Up Around the Bend, Looking At My Back Door, Have You Ever Seen the Rain, Hey Tonight. A lot of great stuff on here, so to get a nice variety of CCR, I picked this one up. Even though I'm not always a greatest hits person, I figured this one would be nice to have in the collection since I've not been able to find the other studio albums on CD like anywhere I go. Not a big Nickelback guy, but I've seen this about 3 or 4 times already at Goodwill, so I decided to pick this one up. This album does have my favorite Nickelback song of all time, which is Because of You. Even if you don't like Nickelback, if you've never heard Because of You, you have to at least listen to that, because that is one banging ass song. Otherwise, this one has Flat on the Floor, which is awesome. I do like the song Someday, Believe It or Not. Another Hole in the Head's pretty good. This one has some cringy stuff too. This is where Nickelback really starts getting cringy with songs like Feeling Way Too Damn Good and Figured You Out. But there's some good stuff on here. There's some bonus tracks that I'd never heard before. That's pretty much why I got it, to check them out. You never know, maybe they might be good. I don't know, I haven't listened to them yet. Plus a Elton John cover, Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting, so why not? I was already picking up a whole bunch of CDs, so next up we got the Pretenders self-titled debut album to go along with Pretenders 2 and my favorite Pretenders album, Learning to Crawl, which I have on CD and on vinyl both. So now I kind of got that first 3 Pretenders album on both mediums. This might be my unpopular opinion of the video. I like this album, but I'm not crazy about it. I'm glad to have it on CD because there's definitely songs on here that I like a lot, like Tattooed Love Boys, Brass in My Pocket, Kid, Stop Your Sobbing. There's good stuff on here. I'm not like crazy about this album though. Like most people consider this to be their best album. I strongly prefer Learn to Crawl, and I even kind of maybe prefer Pretenders 2 a little bit, but it's still a good album, but I don't know. I'm not on board with it being their best album, I guess. But maybe that's just me. Not a big live album guy, but I wasn't going to pass up seeing Beast from the East by Dokken in a thrift store. Great selection of 80s Dokken tracks, Unchain the Night, which I kind of like better on here than I do on Under Lock and Key, Tooth and Nail, When Heaven Comes Down, Into the Fire, Mr. Scary, Breaking the Chains, In My Dreams. A lot of great stuff on here. Beast from the East from Dokken, wasn't going to pass that one up, despite the fact that I'm not a big live album person. Got a little holiday music. I have this on vinyl. Now we got it on CD. This is one that my wife likes as well, so whenever we're kind of in the mood for some classical Christmas music, when that classic Christmas music, when the season comes, we got this one on CD to take with us in the car and whatnot. So next up, I got another greatest hits. This one, Counting Crows. Film is about ghosts. Again, a great selection of Counting Crows songs from the early part of their catalog. Angels of the Silences, Round Here, Rain King, Hanging Around, Mrs. Potter's Lullaby, Mr. Jones, American Girls, Big Yellow Taxi. Some good stuff. I did pick up August and Everything After, and that's the only Counting Crows I own on CD. I don't know that this is a band I need to like buy all the studio albums of. I like some tracks from the band, but I don't know that I ever really got into them to the point where I needed to buy all the albums. Maybe my opinion on that will change over time, but I picked this one up just so I could have a nice selection of Counting Crows songs. This has most of the Counting Crows songs that I really like on it, so I picked this one up. Last but not least, we have Oasis, Definitely Maybe. I have What's a Story, Morning Glory, which I think is their best album. I think this is their second best album, that's why I picked it up. I also have Be Here Now, which is not that strong of an album in my opinion. And I also have Heathen Chemistry, which I love the first track on there, The Hindu Times, and the rest of the album to me is not that particularly memorable. But Definitely Maybe. Those first two Oasis albums I do like quite a bit. Beyond that, I don't think Oasis is, I don't know, they're okay, just not great. At least that's my opinion. And this was a dual disc. Anybody remember these? From the mid-2000s. You had the CD on one side, you got the DVD on the other side, and you got this really funky looking jewel case that has like a little press button, and it opens up, and it's kind of like rounded on the side here. Kind of weird. I'm so glad that they didn't stick. Especially not so much the jewel case itself, but the dual disc. I did not care for them when they were coming out with them back in the mid-2000s. It felt like it was way too easy to scratch up at least one side or the other. So I'm kind of glad the dual disc phase didn't stick, but both sides look pretty good. This one has the DVD side, all 11 songs enhanced stereo, Definitely Maybe documentary, which would be really cool. Maybe if I was a bigger Oasis fan, I'd be a little more excited about that part of it, but I mainly just got this for the CD, the album, so you know, found it at Goodwill. It was a good price, so picked it up. And that's pretty much it. I've got 2 CDs coming in the mail, and they are both new releases. I have pre-ordered Collective Souls Here to Eternity, which should be out, which is coming out this Friday, so I'm excited about getting that. When I do get it, I will review it here on the channel, and then re-rank the Collective Soul studio discography to include Here to Eternity. And the other album I have pre-ordered, of course, is Bon Jovi's Forever, coming out June 7th. I'm also super stoked about that one. And same story, I will review that here on the channel, and then re-rank the Bon Jovi studio albums to include Forever. So if you like this kind of content, please give me a thumbs up. Drop your thoughts on any of these albums in the comments below. Let me know what some of your recent pickups are, and I will catch you in the next video.